Welcome to the Couples Academy show, everyone. My name is Hassani.
And I'm Danielle.
And we're here for another morning to talk to you about all things concerning relationships. Now, listen, we've been excited because the last few days we've been digging in deep. We've been talking about things that will help transform your life and take your relationship to the next level. Today's going to be no different. But make sure you jump on. Make sure you tell everybody you know that we are here. We want you to like, share, and subscribe. And the reason why we want you to do that is because you may know somebody who's hurting right now, and the only lifeline that they have is you. And it is you who can make a difference in their life and in their future. Imagine walking down the street and seeing somebody in agonizing pain, and you keep walking past them. Where's the compassion? Where's the love? A part of our humanity is reaching out to those who are in need to give them what they do need. And so we're going to be talking about the lies that we tell ourselves. Do you lie to your spouse? Maybe it's because you lie to yourself. And when you're lying to yourself, it prevents you from showing up the way that you need to show up. So we get things in our minds all the time that are manipulative, that are not true, and we allow the enemy to speak into our lives and take us off course. And so we're going to dive deep into that. So listen, guys, we'll be right back. This is the Couples Academy show. We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, founders of Couples Academy, a private practice dedicated to saving marriages around the world.
We're not just recognized authorities on relationships. We're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits. I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission: to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships.
This is the Couples Academy show.
Welcome back, guys. This is the Couples Academy show, and today we are talking about 6 lies that destroy the recovery after an affair. And it's going to be a good one, guys, because the fact is that we often lie to ourselves and we convince ourselves that it's the truth. We are the best at lying at ourselves, right? And we believe our own story, hook, line, and sinker. Oftentimes, though, our spouses are not as convinced, right? We try our best to hide, cover. We have one hand behind our back with the fingers crossed, that little symbol. And at the end of the day, guys, what we really want to do is come out with it. What's the point of trickling out the truth? It just takes too much time. It's too much pain. Instead, just go ahead and snatch that Band-Aid right off, get right to the nitty-gritty and the details so that we can move towards recovery. So I'm super excited about this topic. I want to welcome my viewers. Thank you guys for joining us. I see you here, Calvin, Facebook user, Fontadra. Good, welcome. Jackie, Jay, Torre, Jessica, Angela, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell. But Hassani, why don't we jump into today's topic?
Sure. 6 lies that destroy recovery after an affair. The reality is that there are lies that the betrayed spouse tells him or herself, and there are lies that the unfaithful partner tells him or herself. And these lies often get in the way and causes us to stifle our progress. So let's first talk about what the unfaithful partner says. Well, number one, if it's a male, it could be a female, either one, but she will never, ever forgive me. That no matter what I say, that no matter what I do, she will never forgive me. And this is a lie, folks. And what happens is you're looking at her existing hurt, her existing pain. You're listening to her words. Even the Bible says in Ecclesiastes, don't pay attention to every word that comes out of a person's mouth, or you will hear your servant cursing you. Meaning, when I'm in my feelings, when I'm in my emotions, I'm going to say a whole lot of stuff in that moment that ultimately I may not mean. I may say things because I know it gets you. And so what we do is we grab hold of what they say, we ingest it, we meditate in it, we swim in it, we allow it to saturate us. And now that becomes our motivation for leaving because it'll never get any better. And so what we've done is we've taken the focus off of their hurt and we've placed the focus on our hurt, right? And then we begin to participate in self-loathing and pity and guilt and shame and hopelessness. And we convince ourselves ourselves that they will never forgive us. And since they're never going to forgive us, I might as well just leave and move on with my life, because I'll be better for myself, by myself, and they'll be better by themselves as well.
And the lie that, that she or he won't forgive me is actually a defense mechanism, right? We're using that to protect ourselves from actually having to be vulnerable and face the music. At the end of the day, you will tell yourself the lie so that you can have another excuse to continue to lie, right? She or he will never forgive me, so I'm just not going to tell
Which is
that
a lie.
person. Which is a lie, and now you're just not going to tell that person, right? So now you're lying again by omission, and you're just continuing with this lie, and at the end of the day, you've convinced yourself that, you know what, this is how I'm going to protect this person. They can't really handle the truth, so I'm not even going to tell them, because the last time I told them, this is what happened, and they really took forever to get over it, or they shut me down, or they held it against me, or reminded me every, chance that they got. So to protect them, that's another lie you've told yourself. I'm just not going to say anything at all. And it's a terrible, terrible pit that you fall into, because you now have to keep covering up with these lies. And when they find out, OMG, a terrible situation, because now you have been discovered, they've discovered the truth that you've been covering, and now they're doubly hurt because of the lie of omission. I can't tell you how many people I've heard say, their biggest thing that hurts me the most is that you couldn't tell me, that you weren't able to be transparent with me. That hurt me more than anything. I thought we were closer than that. I thought we had a bond, So it's a big problem when we convince ourselves that they won't forgive. The second lie that we tell ourselves is that I'll pay for this forever. Oh my God. If I tell the truth, they will never, ever, ever, ever let me live this down. For how many times can you look back in the history notes of your relationship when you've told your spouse something, and now every chance they get, when there's a relevant point, they'll bring it up. Remember when you did this? Remember when you told me that? So now that's engraved in your mind. That they'll never let it go. They'll be stuck with this pain forever, because I've convinced myself that I can't trust my spouse with this information, so I can't tell them, because I'll pay for it forever.
And that's a sorry, horrible space to be in, because it's almost like you're in purgatory for the rest of your life. And the reality is, so many people have been able to.
Purgatory.
Yeah, it is. That's not a good place.
Because you're waiting in hell, pretty much. It's a terrible place.
It's like, what's going to happen next? And you're waiting for something to change, but you've lost all hope that it ever will. And this is why we say it's so critically important that you surround yourself with other people who have overcome. The question is, who do you listen to? Hear me now. You listen to people who have what you want and have been where you are. I'll say that again. You listen to people who have what you want and have been where you are, because that means that there's a pathway that's been created to get out of the situation that you're currently in. So you should go to people who represent your answer, who have your solution. We typically share our problems with others who share our same problems, and wonder why we're just circling and experiencing no breakthrough, and lose hope that there'll ever be any change. And so you got to get around the right folks, people, because that will help you to propel forward. Next point. All right, my marriage will never be as exciting as the affair was. Now, this is a big thing, because oftentimes, as they say, monogamy can oftentimes lead to monotony. Things have become boring. Things have become stale. We don't go out anymore. We don't dress up anymore. There's no passion. We've just reached a place where we have flatlined. It's like I'm hooked up to a machine. There's no life in me. And so the reality is, when I get into an affair relationship, it's new, it's fresh, it's exciting, it's passionate. We're taking the time to learn each other. We're doing things that we typically wouldn't do. I'm in search for new. I'm in search for different. And I experience that within the realm of this relationship. And then when I look at my current situation, see, that's the problem. When I'm in an affair, I'm excited. And then I look at my current situation, and it reminds me of how bad things actually are. And sometimes the affair can make you love your spouse less, or it can make you have less compassion, less empathy, less of a desire, because you have this fictitious comparison that you're looking at. And the one thing about an affair, it is not real. It is a fallacy. It is fake. You're getting a portion of who that person is, not all of who that person is.
Yes.
And the reality is, we have seen that when affairs have led to full-on relationships, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, you're realizing, wait a minute, that you're not. I don't even like you.
20%.
I like 20% of you. I don't even like all of you.
Yeah.
And so those relationships typically have a high risk of not working. I think it's upwards of 90% of all affairs that wind up in relationships fail.
Right, because you stepped into the relationship on false terms, and you may have known about it if you were the affair partner. So of course, you're starting out with a little bit of trust. But the other thing that I wanted to point out as it relates to you thinking that your relationship is not going to be as exciting as the affair is that on the other side of the affair, on the recovery path, what we've noted is that men and women deal with this differently, at least what I've observed, is even though the affair is over and you're wanting to reconcile with your partner, because you have stepped out, there was an experience that you stepped out and had with this other partner that was exciting, right? That filled in some blank that you weren't investing in your marriage. So you took your energies outside and you put it there, and now you're confused as to how to get it back with your partner. And so you know how we talked about both partners are in pain, you know, but they just have different paths to their healing, but both are in pain for different reasons. Well, the unfaithful partner has this other pain that they invited. This recovery path pain where they do miss that experience of the funness and the excitement, and they have this mourning thing going on many times that is not often spoke of. I feel like the women speak about it more often in the women groups because as women, we tend to be receivers, right? So we receive the spirit when we interact sexually. And so it feels like women deal with it more as far as men, they tend to say, no, I don't even think about her after that anymore. You know, it was just sex for them. Oftentimes for women, it really isn't just sex. And so there's that little mourning piece that has to take place. But what I will say is that if you take the time to invest those energies back into your relationship, you can rekindle it. It's about becoming explorers again and really discovering all the new aspects of one another. And we talk about this a lot. People just think that there's no hope in reviving anything in their marriage, so they stop investing. And the issue is that you've stopped investing. You can have just as exciting, vibrant, energetic of a marriage, having fun, going out, getting dressed, all the things that you do, having sex, doing all the things that you did with your affair partner, with your spouse.
There it is.
You just have to learn to invest that same energy into your marriage.
You are looking for new and different. But new and different is what you can find in your relationship. It's here. The thing is, you got to dig for it. You got to search for it. You got to hunt for it. It's here because it was here from the beginning. Something shifted. Something got lost. Something turned you around. But if you get anchored in your marriage, if you get anchored in God, if you get connected to your spouse again, you can rediscover what was lost. Listen, we've been talking about the lies that we tell ourselves that prevent recovery. We've been talking about what the unfaithful partner talks about. On the other side of this break, we're going to talk about the 3 lies that the betrayed spouse tells him or herself and how to bust through that lie. You're listening to the Couples Academy Show. We'll be right back. Have you been struggling with issues that have gone unresolved for significant amounts of time? Are you desperate for change but don't know exactly what to do? Well, Couples Academy has the answer. The Gottman Relationship Checkup is a clinical tool that scientifically evaluates relationship strengths and challenges through a comprehensive assessment based upon 40 years of research. With it, each partner completes the assessment in 5 key sections: friendship and intimacy, trust and safety, conflict management, shared meaning, and individual areas of concern. This personalized report provides detailed analysis, flags areas of concern, and suggests specific treatment options that we will discuss together. The insight gained from this assessment will help to take you off the road of recovery and place you on the path to fulfillment. If you're ready to experience quantum growth in your marriage, contact Couples Academy today. Hey guys, listen, the reason why we take a break to share with you the service that we have is that this is what it takes to get you over the hump. Many of you are struggling trying to figure out how are we going to do this? Like, what is the how? What is the how? You don't need to know the how. You just need to connect to someone who does.
Say it again.
You don't need to know the how.
You don't need to know the how.
All you need to know is the why.
Yes.
If you have a strong why, the how doesn't matter. The how is irrelevant. The how will be done. But if you don't have a strong why for why you want this marriage, the how will seem impossible. And you got to get to a place where your why is strong enough so that the how is irrelevant.
Absolutely.
And when you do that, you contact us and we set up a discovery call. We figure out how we can restore your relationship and things begin to change. Now, we want to acknowledge some people because you want to say something?
I just want to say hi to Tina. Tina, LaShawn, Tanya. Hey, girl. Good to see you. Monique. You need to scroll. My screen went out, y'all. This is a live show, so I got to look at his screen. Kiara, I wanted to say hey to you, girl, and reach out to me. I haven't heard from you in a long time. I need you to check in with me. Just let me know if things are going well for you. We got some people tuning in from Sweden. Where's that one at? I saw that earlier. It's Lasosify, I think it is. So welcome, guys.
You probably checked that up.
I probably did.
But we're glad to have you.
Thank you. We're really glad to have you guys. Thank you for joining us. So the next tip here, we're moving into challenges that the hurt partner experiences, and they also tell themselves lies because we all tell ourselves lies to cope. It's our coping mechanism, if that's the one that you choose to use. I mean, if you're gonna lie, I mean, if you need to cope, you'll have whatever your mechanism is. And for some people, it's lying. That's how we move into our self-preservation mode to protect ourselves from our own issues and idiosyncrasies. We will convince ourselves that there's a reason for this lie, or this is a white lie, or I am protecting somebody from this lie. But the fact is that you're lying to yourself and you're believing your own lie. So even the hurt partner lies to cope. And the next one here talks about how the lie is, my wrath is completely justified. My wrath. Okay. Now, when I hear wrath, I think of like anything goes when it comes to wrath. I mean, burning things down. I'll never forget. May she rest in peace. Left Eye, right? Burnt down her man's mansion. Okay, because she was having wrath. She was experiencing wrath for what he did. He was cheating, right? But can you imagine how many people can get hurt when you are operating out of rage and wrath? Like, a fire burns down a house and maybe burns the house next door and kills other people. I mean, that's what happens when we lose our mind. Now, that doesn't mean that your anger isn't justified. Your anger is justified. There's a scripture here in Ephesians 4:26. It says, be angry and do not sin. Don't let the sun go down on your anger, and don't give the devil an opportunity. And so it's important that we don't allow wrath to get into our spirit and our soul. It's one thing for a thought to occur, okay? But don't allow the thought to take root. That's the big thing, right? And that's what happens when we go to sleep. It's an interesting thing. When we go to sleep on thoughts, a lot of times I'll meditate on some word, right? And I'll go to sleep on it. And in the morning, I have morning dew. Never fails me. I go to sleep praying, meditating on the word. I come back, wake up the next morning, I have morning dew. All right? That means that word went inside and was planted in my spirit and produced fruit. It's the same thing when you have angry, malicious, negative, hateful thoughts about your spouse. When you allow the sun to go down on your anger, you're allowing that anger to take root in you. And then you wonder why you can't forgive.
That's real talk. And oftentimes what you have imagined in your mind, you have to understand, when you think a thought, it is an electronic wave that goes out. It shoots out. Thoughts shoot out. And then feelings and emotions are magnetic. They have a pull. They pull things in. And when a thought and an emotion comes together, it creates an electromagnetic frequency, okay, that all of a sudden you begin to operate and vibrate at that frequency. And the reality is, I can tell how what a person's thinking based upon what they feel. So when a person is feeling bad, they're thinking bad. When a person is feeling good, they're thinking good. So the root of all things are in a thought. And if I can imagine it, it will manifest. And what we have seen is that spouses, if they're the hurt partner, they begin to operate in their rage. And they will punch, they will kick, they will scream, they will cuss, they will fuss, they will fight, they will crash cars, they will smash windows, they will slash tires. They will rip up every picture in the house. They will go in. They will post on social media. They will humiliate and embarrass their spouse. They will go all the way in to express the hatred, the vitriol, the pain that they're currently in. And this is why you need an accountability partner, a community to join, a counselor to go to protect you from yourself. Because when you go dark, you're not thinking about anything. All you're doing is you're caught up in your feelings and in your emotions, and you just destroy the possibility of any future outcome that can be helpful. So listen, the Bible, to your point, says, be angry, but sin not. You have to know what to do with that anger. You need to know how to filter it out effectively. And we've talked about this before, but it's worth repeating. There's something called the power of accumulation. Think about water. Water is used for drinking, is used for bathing, is used for many, many, many things when it's properly filtered out. But if water accumulates to such a mass, it can become destructive. It can rip your house off the foundation and have it floating down the street. We see the same thing with electricity. Electricity powers our machines. It turns on lights. We use it every single day. But if electricity accumulates to a certain mass, it becomes very destructive and can kill. Likewise, the same thing with your emotions.
And your thoughts.
And your thoughts. They have to be filtered and filtered and filtered, because if you allow them to bubble up on the inside of you, you get to the point where you're enraged and you begin to explode.
And I want to just dial it back into this point here, which talks about, which was it 4, which is talking about not, my wrath is completely justified. And we're talking to you about not allowing yourself to stay in that spirit of wrath. Our minds are so powerful. As a matter of fact, if you have stepped out and had an affair, you've been had an affair. It started in your imagination. And so this scripture is talking about not imagining, not allowing your mind to be a wicked playground, and you go to sleep on that, and that stuff takes root and begins to drive you.
Absolutely. Great point. Next point. All right, number 5. I won't be able to trust my spouse ever again. This is a common thought and feeling that typically takes place upon the discovery of the affair. It's just like all trust is lost. Like, we've been together for, say, 10 years, 15 years, whatever the case may be, and we built up all of this time to begin to develop a level of trust, and in a moment, gone. So therefore, it's going to take some time to restore it to get back to that place. So the knee-jerk reaction, thought, and feeling is, I'll never trust again. I'll never be able to trust my partner outside of my presence. As long as I can see him or her, that's one thing. But once they're out, I don't know what they're doing. I don't trust my spouse with a phone in his or her hand. I don't trust my spouse on a computer. I don't trust my spouse at work. I don't trust my spouse when they go to the bathroom. And so what happens is, you get to the place where you lose all hope of what's possible for you, and you've so ingrained that belief into your mind that it now becomes your reality and your fact. But I'm here to tell you that there is a trust building process that you can go through. And initially, yes, there needs to be transparency. There needs to be vulnerability for you to want to know where he or she is at that particular time, who they're with, what they're doing, to have access to all forms of social media, phones, and emails. Of course, you want to do that because at the beginning, you need them to prove to you who they are, what they're doing, and what their level of commitment is. But after a season of consistency, all of a sudden you can begin to trust again to get to a better place. I just want to let you know what's possible for you, that you can get to the place where trust can be restored. It's one of the hardest things to do, but it is doable.
Yeah, and it's a 2-player game. Trust is a 2-player game. You cannot expect to have trust for somebody who is unwilling to expose their life to you, especially after there's been such an egregious offense like an affair, right? I need to know what's going on. I need to see your transparency. I need to see more than just, your physical transparency, where you're coming and going and who you're talking to, but I also need heart transparency. I need to know how you feel, and do you have remorse? And all of those things are so important. So it really takes 2 to walk together on that path to recover and get the trust that you had before.
Absolutely.
The next lie is, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. When your spouse has been unfaithful to you, the knee-jerk reaction is to look in the mirror and say, well, why? What was it about me? Why would you cheat on me? Why couldn't I keep my man, my husband in the house, or my wife in the house? What was the deal? And the truth is that some of those inadequacies that we feel we've had before, right? Came into the relationship with them. It could be a part of our personality style, the way that we think. Somebody could have told us something a long time ago, said that we weren't enough a long time ago, or told us all the issues that we had a long time ago. But this partner, this husband, this wife married us and we felt good about it. Then the affair takes place. And now it's like jabbing the wound of insecurity, twisting it. Right? Now, all those insecurities that maybe you thought you had healed from or you didn't look at anymore just come flying out of the box to the extreme, right? And we tell ourselves it's me, and it never has anything to do with the hurt partner, ever. It's one of the things that I really appreciate when the offending partner will acknowledge it, you know, because you have both sides. You have sometimes when the affair partner, the unfaithful partner will blame. And say, well, I wasn't getting enough this, I wasn't getting enough that. That just further digs into the person's heart, right? But then when you have somebody that will acknowledge it was me. I was broken. I actually felt inadequate. I have self-worth issues, and that's why I couldn't find fulfillment in my life, and so I stepped out to find that fulfillment. And most of the time, whether it's admitted or not, I'm sorry, did I say most of the time? All of the time. Whether it's acknowledged and admitted or not by the unfaithful partner, that's the truth of the matter.
You know what you said is so true. The person's own self-esteem issues, self-worth issues, inadequacies, whatever term or colloquialism you want to use, one's own brokenness leads one to cheat, right? So it was pain and brokenness that created the issue within me that led to me cheating. And as a result of it, it created pain and brokenness within the partner.
Yes.
And now the partner who's been cheated on, they take their pain and brokenness and project it back towards the person who cheated. And that's the cycle.
It's a boomerang effect.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's like that wasn't your intention. You're thinking, I'm going to get my needs met. Right? You don't even know that you're trying to soothe needs that are in the core of your being, where your brokenness resides.
See, Danielle, because I don't feel good about myself as a man, or at least I don't feel good about myself with you because you don't give me the affection, you don't give me the verbal affirmation, I don't feel like I'm enough. So I'm going to connect with someone who makes me feel. See, it's not just about sex. See, we think that cheating is all about sex, and that's the mistake. We oversimplify it. Yeah. There are emotional issues that we're dealing with, brokenness that we're dealing with, that causes us to reach out. And as one of the byproducts of the connection is sex, you know, it's not like I'm just going out to seek sex. Yes, that's one particular reason why. But sometimes I need to feel a certain way that I'm not feeling. I've heard many men say, listen, I don't feel like I'm a man in my own home. Like, it could be for a number of different reasons. Maybe the dominant personality of their wife, maybe the fact that their wife makes more money. And so therefore, if my definition of a man is I've got to be the provider, I got to make the most money, and because you make 50 cents an hour more than I do, I don't feel like I can be a man of my own home.
Now.
So now I will reach out or stumble into a connection with somebody who is in need, and their neediness meets a need within me, because now I feel like a man when I'm with them.
You done said a word, y'all better slow down now. He has said something significant for anybody out there that is actually thinking about stepping out on their marriage. You can't give or attract what you're not. So don't think that you're going to go find somebody else that's whole when you're broken. You're just going to attract a broken person.
Wow.
The affair partner is a broken person.
Because we're magnets and we draw to us who and what we are.
You cannot attract a whole person. You cannot attract somebody that will soothe your brokenness when you are broken. So it's like, it's that boomerang ricochet effect. Now you're trying to soothe your brokenness and heal that place that you never healed from. You're using somebody else to do it. That person's broken. When it ends, because you're going to go back to your wife or your husband in the end, then now you've further broken the broken person that you attracted into your mess. It's just, it's a catastrophe. Why not put all this energy into your marriage?
Let's just pause on that.
Sila.
This is good. I mean, we could go on forever and talk about what causes somebody to do what they did. And I'm focusing on a man, but women cheat as well.
Yeah,
and a lot of times they cheat because of their own inadequacies as well. It could be daddy issues. It could be a number of different things. And that's why you need to get your personal healing. Couples Academy is not just about helping couples restore their relationship. We are about helping individuals experience their personal healing as well. We say it all the time. The key to your marital restoration is your personal transformation. I hope you got something out of this message.
I mean,
I know I did.
I kind of feel like I did.
I need to tip myself.
We ain't never, we good. We ain't never opening that door
at all.
We gonna keep that door closed tight, peer through the window,
straight
and pull
and
the
down.
shotgun out if some foolishness tries to show up on our front door.
Not never.
We are good.
Not never.
Now.
Not ever. Guys, you've been listening to the Couples Academy show. See you in the morning.
Bye, guys.
Love you.
If you would like to be a guest on our show, or if you're interested in one of our restoration programs, contact us today at couplesacademy.org.